Hi, it's Chris Titley, and we're live at the Sports Strategy Summit here at the Convention Centre. I'm joined by Lance Peatey. Lance, great to catch up again, mate. Good to see you again.
Yes, you too, Chris. Great to catch up. Good to see you here. Great event.
Absolutely, Nat. You've been on stage today. What did you talk about?
Oh, look, it was a panel about creating headlines for your brand. And I think that really struck a chord with me because a lot of what I do is around sort of fan engagement and storytelling. So yeah, look, it was a good panel. Howard Reese from Nine and Jason Scott from News Limited. And look, I was sitting neutral. This is I've done a lot of these gigs usually attached to a big media organisation, and today was a bit different because I could actually speak neutral and say what I wanted to say and not really be instructed by anyone that was watching over me.
Well, you feel like a bit like a third wheel.
Well, not so much a third wheel. I could be a grenade launcher of sorts, you know. I didn't have to play. I didn't have a playbook. I could really just say what I thought about things, and look, that's what we need to do. To get serious about Brisbane 2032, we've just got to be honest with ourselves and really say what we think and learn from those that have done it better.
Mate, what are you up to now that you've left ESPN for a long time, or the Disney Group, etc.? Yeah. And as you mentioned, now being on stage with Nine and News Corp. What's Lance Peatey up to?
Yeah, look, I had about 8 years with the House of Mouse, as we affectionately call it. Yeah.
I've heard that one before.
Look, largely with ESPN in the Australian business for 5.5 years, and after we did a successful sort of localisation of ESPN brand and its offering in Australia. I was elevated to the GM role of General Manager of ESPN in Southeast Asia, which was a great honour, and really it was an interesting time for the group. They were just going through the acquisition of 20th Century Fox, so we were merging as businesses, and then that lovely little thing that came across our world, COVID, struck and changed everything. But yeah, look, getting back to what I'm up to here, I'm a Brizzy boy, born and raised, but I moved to Sydney for Sydney 2000. I was a sports writer with Seven at Sydney 2000. That was my first foray into sport, and I only returned to Brisbane in 2023. So back here for a few years, strapped myself to the 2032 bandwagon. A couple of really interesting projects at the moment, a bit in the AI sports space, which you know a bit about, Chris. That's in its early days, but a really exciting project there. But one of the ones I'm on is also a real passion project, and that is a big storytelling piece for Rugby World Cup next year, which will be released around May, June next year, a few months out from the...
Yeah, mate, it's we just had Chris on from the Rugby World Cup talking about the event, and also Anthony Ryan was fired up today about the event next year and getting that. I think there was something like 2 million tickets available. It's the most accessible Rugby World Cup coming. Be a huge event for Australia. Have you got your tickets? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, look, I jumped in some of those early tickets and look, I'll no doubt through what I do for work, I'll get some great tickets too, fortunately. But look, third biggest event in the world, so it's nothing to sort of sneeze at in terms of that runway to Brisbane 2032 and preparing ourselves. So yeah, look, really looking forward to it. I'm particularly looking forward to this project that I'm working in conjunction with World Rugby and some production partners. We've steered away from I guess the whole Drive to Survive phenomenon and documentary filmmaking is a bit saturated for the market. So this is utilising the amazing archive that World Rugby has and bringing to life some incredible stories. Like Rugby World Cup has some amazing stories. Some people know the surface of those stories, the Mandela moments and some of those things, but some people don't know the things like the classic one that Australians will really sort of gravitate to is the media wars that happened when the game was moving to professionalism in '95. So Packer v Murdoch, just like the cricket stoush for control of the game, and Murdoch won that one. And ultimately he created Super Rugby and the Tri Nations Championship, etc. So that that evolved but one Rupert said when he got control of the game, he said, "No Jonah, no deal." So Jonah Lomu plays into the back of that episode in in terms of changing the face of the game. One individual that changed the face of the game, but also changed the value of the game.
Yeah, wow. Looking forward to the documentary and the stories that are unpacked in it. In 2032, we're here. We've talked a lot about it today at the panels, etc. What needs to happen? How are we going? Where are we at? And what can fans do? What can people do to get involved?
Oh, look, there'll be opportunities around the fringes everywhere. I think that's where I'd be focusing. Getting to some of these sports that are, squash is going to be in the Olympics. In LA. Hopefully, that might flow through to 32 for squash, but it's fiercely competitive as to what those extra sports will be around Brisbane 2032. But look, I think there's a range of ways that people can get involved and businesses and brands can get involved in 2032. For instance, we know the first sort of anchor partner for the Olympics is CommBank. Now, that's a very big deal, as to what that would be. And not all brands have that money to splash around but CommBank. But I guess I'd say to anyone out there, are you a supplier to CommBank? Could you be a supplier to CommBank? Yep. Is there a play for your business to do something for CommBank in that journey to 2032? Because that's, I guess, running on the coattails, but that's something to start looking at. Okay, 2032 is a bit rich for me, but hey, CommBank, they're absolutely in my space. Can I do something there? And the one other piece I think we've got to do from a Brisbane perspective is really improve our fan experience and just that service, that customer service thing. I think in my recent panel on stage, I used the example of when I was in New York a couple of months ago about how a subway attendant helped me because I knew I was going the wrong way on the subway that I was on and I needed to go the other way. And I said, mate, how do I get it? He just, you just go up over Columbus Avenue, one of the busiest streets in New York. And I was like, okay. He could see that I was a bit worried by the prospect of doing that. But he literally grabbed me. He said, I'll come with you. So this station attendant leaves his post, walks me across Columbus Avenue. Not only that, walks me down the stairs and then weighs me through so I don't have to pay my few extra dollars on getting through to where I needed to be for my next meeting. I just went, wow, that, America just does that so supremely. And I think that little bit of customer service is vital. And I think we've just got to get those pieces right.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if we start those behaviours and trends now, it'll just be a the brain will just be hardwired to good customer service.
Absolutely.
Good values and saying thank you and not being grumpy and all these sort of things, which engaging in conversation with people, and then it'll make an enormous difference. I'm not saying it doesn't happen now, but certainly with the world coming into our doorstep, you need to make sure that is on. Everyone's on, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, everyone's got a part to play.
Mate, so we're here at the summit. We're at the tail end. Afternoon tea's coming. Firstly, what's one takeaway that you've got from today, and then secondly, what do you want to get out of the networking part as well?
Look, fantastic bunch of speakers. Incredible event for being the first one. You've got to start with something. I think clearly we needed a bigger room because it's very popular and that's great. I think it's a good starting point. These things need to be happening annually and there needs to be more of them. We need to bring the best minds together in Brisbane and really, at the moment the execution mode is really around the infrastructure and that piece and getting that right around the stadiums. But from the moment that baton change happens in LA, that is when some really exciting parts start. And the fan engagement, and I think selfishly from my point of view, is that fan engagement piece for Brisbane 2032, it can't really properly start until LA literally passes the torch to Brisbane. And once they do, then it's game on. We are the centre of the world for the next big one.
And that's 28. They're not far, right?
Yeah, not far.
Get excited.
It is. Get excited. It's very close. Yeah. So I think we're saying everyone's like we're 6 years out now. Look, it'll be 4 years in no time, and then once that baton change happens, that 4 years will fly.
It will fly, and it'll feel like I was talking to Chris from the Rugby World Cup. He was saying 400 days, and I'm like, is that a long way away or a short period of time for the Rugby World Cup? And he's like, depends which way you look at it, but I'm pretty excited, and it's just going to fly by, right? And then the Rugby World Cup comes, and Brisbane's got a full schedule next year of sport, starting off with the Brisbane International, starting off with the Brisbane Heat on January, New Year's Day, with the flagship game that they've now built into that. Yeah. But exciting times in sport, Lance. So you're talking, like, is there one thing that your Rugby World Cup, obviously, but is there another event that you're looking forward to?
Oh, look, I think this golden runway, it's been called, a bunch of different... We've been gifted with a lot of events that are coming to Australia in the lead up to 2032. I think there's lots of learnings to be gathered from those events itself. But going back to LA again, it is an absolute gift for Brisbane to have a city like LA and a country like the US, most advanced economy in the world, the richest economy in the world. They are going to push the boundaries so much on all of AI, what AI can offer, the new fan engagement initiatives. They are going to push that right to the limit, and they're going to do entertainment like no one else. I mean, it's happening in Hollywood. The Olympics is happening in Hollywood. So that whole entertainment and fan engagement piece will be just on overload for LA. There'll be so many learnings out of that. And the good news for Brisbane is we got 4 years to refine it and go even better again from that.
What a way to finish. Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming on and having a chat. I think afternoon tea is just about to be served, but appreciate that. All the best, and looking forward to support where I can.
Cheers, Chris. Good to chat.